The future is bleak for children growing up in Boston's Dorchester neighborhood, on playgrounds littered with gangs, drugs, and violence.
Shootings, stabbings, you get bodies out here on a day-to-day basis sometimes, maybe even a week straight. When I was 16 years old, I walked around with a 12-gauge shotgun in my pants.
Billy Singletary grew up idolizing the gang members on his corner. By age 16, he was one of them.
Company I kept, I started to get shot at. You want to shoot at me, I'm going to shoot at you, you know? You want to play tag, all right, now you're it.
Billy's lifestyle soon followed him home.
When they started firing, one went through the window. I remember that bullet hole here because that was from that same incident. You know, if you stepped in my way, that was like a train coming through. I didn't care.
But last year, Billy found a new reason to cease fire. Serenity was born.
Some girls just don't have their father, and I gotta be the one there to protect her.
So Billy looked for a new place to hang, away from his old corner, his enemies, and his friends. In a secret location, behind a locked door, and through a metal detector, he found InnerCity Weightlifting, a gym where gangsters trade weapons for weights.
When I'm here, I'm not worried about nobody hitting me upside the head with a weight unless it's an accident. But a bullet's not an accident.
It might be the only time that day when they're not looking over their shoulder to see who might be out there to get them.
John Feynman founded InnerCity Weightlifting in 2009. It's a non-profit gym that gives these kids refuge, the ones Feynman calls high-impact players, the ones most likely to shoot someone or get shot themselves.
They've made bad decisions, and too often they get stereotyped and defined by those decisions. It doesn't mean they won't make a mistake tomorrow, but it certainly doesn't mean as a society we should write them off.
Feynman got the idea while working at AmeriCorps in tough East Boston, where he met Alexin Hercules and his friends playing soccer. There, he saw how athletics leveled the playing field.
None of the guys were really willing to talk to me at first. And the soccer balls rolled my way one day, and I played soccer throughout college, so I do a couple of tricks, I kick it back to them, and all of a sudden they start looking at me a little bit differently.
At 12 years old, Alexin was already running with MS-13, a notoriously brutal gang known for torturing its victims. Before his 18th birthday, he was shot, stabbed, and spent time behind bars.
I wrote my grad school essay about him, whether or not he was alive, if he's in jail, what might have happened to him.
Alexin's story haunted Feynman. He dreamed of opening a gym to rescue his young friend and others like him. The day Alexin was released from prison, Feynman recruited him as the first member of InnerCity Weightlifting. 2.5 years later, he was thriving.
2012, he held a full-time job for the first time in his life. He was starting to get back into a GED program.
At the gym, education and exercise are equally important. Members can get GED and career counseling.
Weight training is probably the least important thing that we do. That's not where the real kind of magic of InnerCity weightlifting happens.
The real magic, says Feynman, is about building bonds, not muscles.
It's when a student gets shot. It's when they go back to jail. It's when they bury a friend. That's the most important time to be there for them.
2/3 of InnerCity Weightlifting's high-impact players have stayed out of jail since joining the gym. Billy now works out 6 days a week.
It's like a family thing here, you know, and everybody's willing to embrace you.
It's like Cheers. You want to go where somebody knows your name.
Dorchester probation officer Bill Stewart has worked with Boston's youngest offenders for more than 3 decades. He's seen all the programs and knows which ones work.
Like this program has to have street credibility. They have to be able to trust the people running this program.
Yeah. Feynman established his cred by recruiting gang members on their turf.
A white guy pulling up in an all Spanish and black neighborhood, he has some real brass balls.
28-year-old Eduardo Ortiz, known as Chino, met Feynman about a year ago. Chino was the definition of a high-impact player.
Did what I had to do, steal cars, sell weed. Eventually, it just kept progressing and escalating to bigger things. Armed robbery, selling drug trafficking, shooting people.
Now the gym helps Chino make an honest living. He's gone from student
Good, and keep that positioning.
to teacher.
Yep.
Chino is becoming a certified personal trainer, joining the InnerCity Weightlifting team that conducts private sessions at Boston area businesses, like Microsoft. The training sessions, along with private donations, helped InnerCity raise some $600,000 last year.
Right.
Chino also has his own clients, who pay $20 a session. Feynman says they, too, get more than a workout.
Yes.
All of a sudden, the youth violence that they see on the news and that wasn't their problem before, now because they know this young person, now it's their problem.
Yeah.
Feynman knows all too well about news headlines hitting close to home. Last June, an early success story became just another grim statistic.
I see a couple missed calls from this girlfriend. I see a text from our program director saying to call him ASAP.
Alexin Hercules was picking up food for his girlfriend and daughter. A rival gang ambushed him, stabbed him 5 times, and left him for dead. Alexin's dad believes he was murdered because he planned to testify against some former assailants.
Kind of really shows the courage that our students have to day in, day out, not pick up that gun, to not pick up the knife, to not retaliate, to hold a full-time job knowing that you're risking your life to do the right thing. Keep your stomach tight, T-line, and grip the bar as hard as you can. Real trick is, how do we get to extend beyond the gym so that when we shut these lights off and go home at night, how do we make it so our students don't go back to that same isolated street with that lack of opportunity, but instead, like they see in here, be overwhelmed with support.
Okay, what, 3 more sets?
Yeah, 3 more sets of 5 reps.
Ultimately, though, no matter how much Feynman puts into the gym, students know it's up to them to do the heavy lifting.
At any given time, any one of us can go back to our old ways. They're taking a big risk on that, but at the same time, they know how much of a risk it could be to let this whole thing go and let us go back to the streets too.